Do you believe in seahorses?
It kinda looks like pants. Yeah, it's pants.
Hey everybody, here we are. This is episode 1 of a new category of videos on the Dr. Pants channel where I interview people who are important around the Pants universe musically or because of interesting or geeky stuff that they do. But everyone I interview will be awesome, no question. And the first ones today, this is Jimmy Jackson, and he's going to be playing percussion for Dr. Pants in our newest iteration. His first show was going to be the August 14th show that had to get canceled because of my stupid eye. All right, so Jimmy, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you get into music?
I grew up around music in a very musical household in terms of there's always music being played. But
Like played on instruments or
no,
on stereo?
like on the stereo.
Okay.
Like the first thing I remember hearing was like the Beatles' White Album. Whereas like my mom was like, "Hey, you should like this because this is good," and it's not Backstreet Boys. Or
Right. Thank God. Yeah. And then what about drums? What led you to the drums?
My mom, I grew up in Kansas, and so there was this little bar and grill in a little tiny town, Kansas, we lived in. And
What town was it? Just
called Pratt, Kansas.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one.
Probably no one's ever heard of it. It's alright. But there was like a jukebox. I used to always play like music, and my mom was like, "Hey, there's a Led Zeppelin album in there. You should play the song Moby Dick." And I listened to that and went, "Wow, I'm doing that."
Yeah. I like it when he plays the drums.
Yeah, and it was just like drum solo explosions.
Yes, drum solo explosions. Any like geeky stuff that you're a fan of, or anything that you geek out on besides music? I mean, I know you geek out on music pretty hard.
Yeah, a lot of my geekiness is taken up by music.
Yeah.
But I do really like Star Wars, obviously. Pretty excited for the new one.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Also, Lord of the Rings is pretty cool. And I've been known to like to play video games every now and again.
Yeah. Any particular games that have always been favorites, or?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Mario.
Right, sure.
The original Mario is good. Oh man, sometimes I just like to play really terrible games, like with my friends. Like, probably no one's ever heard of this game. It's like this old Super Nintendo game called Primal Rage.
See, I feel like I've heard of that. I don't know that. I think
it's like Street Fighter, but dinosaurs.
Right, they're like big monsters and stuff. Yeah.
But like it's not good.
Oh, okay.
And like the special moves are like titled like Golden Shower, where all you do is pee on your opponent. I don't know. It's really bad, and it's not good. And it's I just remember discovering these greatnesses as a child.
Absolutely.
Going, wow.
And not really, and then being horrified later when you found out what a golden shower was.
What is that? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. Ooh, man. Tell us one embarrassing story.
Okay.
Just pick a good one.
Pick a good one. Okay. I'll be honest. I don't know if this is okay to talk about.
Well, maybe just for a minute.
Just for a minute. Okay. One time, this was I guess senior in high school.
Okay.
I was dating a young lady, and she was like, "Hey, let's go to the mall with my family to shop." And I was like, "This sounds great."
She proposed a trip to the mall with your family.
With her family.
Oh, with her family.
Okay, got it. So she proposed this trip, and so it was like one of those where like I didn't understand what I was getting myself into. Where it was like we spent 2 hours in one store, you know? It was, and so at the end of the day, I thought it was gonna be like I go to the mall, it takes me about 15 minutes to go through everything, you know? And so it was like, it's been about 7 hours at this point. I'm standing in the food court, and I felt a little flatulence coming on. And when said flatulence decided to come out, it was a little bit more than said Percussionist.
And then, so what?
Well,
what ensued? Did you have to?
Okay, so
you had to break that down somehow.
Yeah, I had a. So there was. I'd only been dating her for like 3 months, so it wasn't like we were that comfortable yet. It wasn't like where it was like, hey,
right,
I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I just went. I have to go to the bathroom now, and walked off, and had to take care of the situation.
Yeah.
Luckily, everything was fine.
Yeah.
There had to be. I didn't have to like get rid of anything.
Oh wow.
So I was lucky. I was lucky.
Definitely.
But that was a story that later in our relationship, it was one of those things where it was like, hey, I need to tell you something because it's really funny. Because I think it's hilarious.
I need to come clean about this thing that happened that ultimately really doesn't have much of an effect on anything. But
no, other than I just want to tell you this because I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, we'd gotten to the telling embarrassing true stories stage of our relationship. So you're playing percussion for Dr. Pants, and by percussion I mean things that you do primarily with your hands and not sticks. But you're not a lot of kit for the moment. Are you nervous? Or are you feeling pretty okay about that at this point?
I will say I'm nervously excited. I'm nervous, but also super excited because I feel like there's this whole pantheon of like percussion instruments and toys that I and we can just kind of discover and be like,
so many options.
You need to go buy a Vibra Slap because it's cool, you know, or like
that's like the best name too, Vibra Slap.
Vibra Slap.
It's like you just want to own that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what does that do?
My wrestling name actually. Vibra Slap. That's, I think is what. No, it's
And then the top 5 albums right now. Like doesn't have to be your top 5 albums of all time.
Okay.
Like it could be some sort of mix of things that you know are always your favorites and things you're into now. Like
we're gonna go with Chance the Rapper, Acid Rap. That's one I always go back to. It's good. It's really good. I'm gonna go with. I always have the Beatles in there because they're my favorite band, and so I have to have them in there. So probably the most I've listened to recently has been Abbey Road, which is, I mean,
always in my top 5.
You can't go wrong, right? You just can't. It's fantastic. And Brightening Up.
Okay.
And specifically Ambient 1. Music for Airports. Just because the first one that track is like 17 minutes long, and I just put it on and just like I can just knock some stuff out.
Totally.
Sam's Town by the Killers.
Okay.
Which is I really like. I don't know. I feel like sometimes they get a bad rap.
Sure.
People are like the Killers, synthy, you know, whatever. But
that was not their big synthy album though. That was like their
kind of
their Springsteen album. Sort of.
And I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
It's there's some really cool stuff, and there's a lot of it's concept in the way that the thematic elements can like show back up, which I really enjoy. Like if you can do that, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And then number 5.
5's always the hardest.
I know, man. It's Tyler the Creator. Wolf.
Okay.
Which is I love all types of music,
right?
And so I really love hip hop.
Gotcha.
And so that is, and he's really dark, but I really like him.
Yeah.
All his influences are like his biggest influence is Stevie Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, whenever he sits down and write a song, he said, like in interviews he says that he's like, I just need to write a song better than the one that Stevie Wonder would write. And he said, I just haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah,
he said, I haven't been able to do it because it's Stevie Wonder, right? But he loves that. He loves like Erykah Badu. So like that kind of stuff, I'm a pretty big fan of. So
yeah,
I'll put that in there.
And finally, if you could be on any boat making any kind of toast, what kind of jam would you use?
Probably Red Plum.
It's an interesting answer. It's not, you can just bypass all the most common jams.
Yeah, it's always been there for me.
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. I think this went pretty well. What do you guys think? You can comment and tell me about my interview skills. But you can't say anything mean about Jimmy, because that's just not okay. So now, since we canceled the August gig, Jimmy's first show with us will be October 30th at Full Circle Bookstore. Mark your calendars. It's going to be a grand old time. All right, Jimmy, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for
letting
having
me
me.
interview.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you later.